Speaking of the president, he just passed me a note while I'm standing here. He wanted me to hold this up. This is the poll that I cited, the CBS YouGov poll that shows that 76% of those who watched the president's speech last night approved of his speech.
A few moments later.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you.
Wanting to get reaction on Congressman Al Green's antics and being ejected, 80% of speech watchers said that the Democratic congressman's interrupting of Trump's speech was inappropriate. Only 20% of speech watchers thought what Green did was appropriate, Aaron.
A few moments later.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding.
What?
We weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't. You know, we showed up. And if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do for sure. We got some cool shirts. We got Madam Williams.
That was illustrious House Representative Jasmine Crockett, the spokeswoman for Texas's 30th Congressional District. And I'm sad to say that TikTok dance represents exactly the state of the Democratic Party right now.
This flood the zone strategy, understand clearly. The flood the zone strategy is designed to disorient people. I ain't gonna be disoriented. Not going to be disoriented by it all. We have to push back with righteous indignation. But this whole flood the zone strategy is designed to create the appearance of inevitability. The notion that Donald Trump is unstoppable. He ain't unstoppable. Not a single bill connected to Trump's Project 2025 agenda has passed the House because there's unified Democratic opposition. Not a single bill. We're almost halfway through the first 100 days. He doesn't have a single legislative accomplishment, but we're supposed to believe it's all inevitable, he's invincible, it's unstoppable. Show me the evidence.
Meanwhile, 74% of the speech watchers surveyed said that Trump appeared presidential and entertaining. 71% said he was inspiring, and 62% said that he was unifying. 68% also said that the speech made them feel hopeful, 54% felt proud, and only 27% said that they were worried, and only 16% said that they were angry following the speech. Overall, 76% of the speech watchers approved of Trump's message to Congress, and 63% of them said that Trump addressed all the issues that they cared about in his address.
A few moments later.
The House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House has come to order. The House has come to order.
What's it? We're not going to want to let him keep doing this, or it's over there.
The House has come to order. Clear the well, please. Clear the well. The House has to continue its business. Just say the House is Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the House will stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
That clip, what you saw there, was the voting process on the House floor of the Senate to censure Representative Al Green for his disruptive outburst at Trump's address on Tuesday. As Speaker Mike Johnson was trying to conduct the vote, the entire body of the Democratic representatives came onto the floor, and then they started chanting and singing, "We shall overcome," totally disrupting the proceedings. This is how childish and utterly tone-deaf the Democratic leadership has become. What exactly are you overcoming? 80% of the speech watchers that were surveyed said that Al Green's behavior was just totally inappropriate. This again is like a toddler getting sent to his room for misbehaving and then just being cluelessly defiant, thinking they did nothing wrong. I mean, talk about being moronically self-unaware. But the irony to all of this is that Democrats think that they're not winning with the American public because they can't get in front of enough people to spread their message.
Wanting to get reaction on Congressman Al Green's antics and being ejected, 80% of speech watchers said that the Democratic congressman's interrupting of Trump's speech was inappropriate.
And keep in mind that both CNN and CBS are both very left-leaning networks, meaning that those that responded to these surveys are also more left-leaning. So that alludes to the fact that even amongst predominantly liberal audiences, Trump's speech was received favorably and the Democrats' behavior was seen as being totally inappropriate.
Donald Trump is unstoppable. He ain't unstoppable. We're almost halfway through the first 100 days. He doesn't have a single legislative accomplishment. Supposed to believe it's all inevitable. He's invincible. It's unstoppable. Show me the evidence.
Donald Trump's back in the White House as our 47th president, sworn in on January 20, 2025, promising a golden age for America. Just over a month in, his supporters say he's already delivering big wins, securing borders, slashing waste, and shaking up the world stage. Let's break down what's happened so far. Day 1, Trump declared a national emergency at the southern border. By February, migrant encounters reportedly dropped 93%, a 60-year low. The border wall's construction kicked back into gear, and catch and release is history.
Another reason why we voted for Donald Trump.
President Trump's been clear. We're going to put the worst of the worst at Gitmo. And look, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. No one's off the table. If you're in this country illegally, it's not okay. But President Trump has said from day one, we're going to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. You know, Varner, I looked at the numbers today. In the last 24 hours, a total of 229 people were encountered by the Border Patrol on the southwest border.
Wow.
229. I haven't seen that.
Wow.
I've been doing this job since 1984 as a Border Patrol agent. I've never seen the numbers that low. 229 compared to 11,000 a day under Biden. We've doubled the number of criminal aliens arrested. We've doubled the number of illegal aliens arrested in the interior. We've doubled the number of gang members trend to Agua and MS-13. President Trump made a promise to American people, and we're keeping that promise. The numbers are extraordinary. We're not there yet. We got more to do. But I looked at those numbers this morning. I just shake my head how much President Trump has accomplished in less than a month.
Wow. And for 4 years, even with videos like this one, these losers kept telling us that the border was secure. God bless you and your family. God bless Tom Homan. Catch you on the next one.
Meanwhile,
We're almost halfway through the first 100 days. He doesn't have a single legislative accomplishment.
meanwhile,
The Laken-Riley Act, signed into law, cracks down on crimes by undocumented migrants. Supporters say it's proof Trump's making America safe again.
But if we truly care about protecting Americans' children, no step is more crucial than securing America's borders. Over the past 4 years, 21 million people poured into the United States. Many of them were murderers, human traffickers, gang members, and other criminals from the streets of dangerous cities all throughout the world. Because of Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies, they are now strongly embedded in our country, but we are getting them out and getting them out fast. And I want to thank tomhoman and Christy. I want to thank you and Paul of Border Patrol. I want to thank you. What a job they've all done. Everybody, Border Patrol, ICE, law enforcement in general is incredible. We have to take care of our law enforcement. Have to. Last year, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley, the best in her class, admired by everybody, went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia. That morning, Laken was viciously attacked, assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Laken's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren. Last year, I told Laken's grieving parents that we would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act. It's called the Laken-Riley Act. So Allison and Lauren, America will never, ever forget our beautiful Laken Hope Riley.
Then there's Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk. They've slashed billions in what Trump calls fraud and waste. Estimates on X range from $55 billion to $110 billion saved already, targeting bloated contracts and agencies like USAID. Over 75,000 federal workers, 3.75% of the workforce, resigned or got the axe. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Shut down. Trump says it's taxpayer money back in our pockets, not bureaucrats.
And for all of you in Canada, thank you for watching. You need to start securing your own border. You need to start contributing to your national defense because you rely on us. And you need to start paying your fair share to NATO. And if Canada doesn't want free trade, okay, there will be reciprocal tariffs. It has to work both ways. Even before Donald Trump was sworn into office, Canada charged hefty tariffs on certain American agricultural products. They completely blocked other products. And for some reason, the U.S. also regularly is giving Canada tens of millions of dollars in foreign aid. We don't deserve to be booed, and we're not going to take that. Thanks to Doge, thanks to Elon Musk, this kind of unusual spending in the name of foreign aid, that is going to come to an end and not a moment too soon. And according to testimony from the CEO of LexisNexis, more than $1 trillion of your hard-earned tax dollars stolen during the height of COVID. Most of that money going abroad, not helping Americans. And the GAO reporting last year alone, Biden wasted $236 billion. That is nearly $250 billion wasted in a year. And meanwhile, Elon Musk discovers this, reveals it to the American people. He announced even more than 20 million people over 100 years old. 20 million are still listed on the Social Security database. In other words, the federal government could, we don't know yet, but they're listed on the database. They could be sending checks to people who are long dead or their relatives that are cashing the checks. Now, of course, Doge is rooting out waste, fraud, abuse, corruption all across the federal government. They've already recovered billions and billions in wrongful spending while reducing the size of government. And liberals now are screaming into the void. But here's an interesting point that I'm pretty sure the mainstream state-run media mob won't tell you about, because it wasn't long ago. Top Democrats, people that you know, were advocating for Donald Trump's very plan. Take a listen.
This report tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
By paying for these plans first with cuts in government waste and efficiency, second with cuts, not gimmicks, in government spending.
We'll prove that we can spend the money we have in an appropriate way and stop wasting so much of it.
But over the next several months, we will be looking at every other agency and program, asking the direct question, do we really need this agency? Do we really need this program?
20 years into a period in our history where most American wage earners are working longer work weeks for stagnant wages. It is outrageous for the government to have rules and regulations which take those people's money from them and spend it on things that cannot be justified.
One of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending.
Ah, amazing. They sound like Donald Trump, except they never got the job done. How times have changed. Now, tonight there are reports of a collective panic in the Washington swamp, a flood of new real estate listings as Trump dismantles the Washington bureaucracy at a rapid pace.
2,000 years later.
We're almost halfway through the first 100 days. He doesn't have a single legislative accomplishment.
Why the you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop lying.
Energy's another win. Trump's pushing for dominance, oil, gas, and renewables back on the table. He killed Biden's climate cores and banned paper straws with a grin.
Next, this is an executive order relating to the use of paper straws. As you've consistently identified, nobody really likes paper straws.
#1 trending. Can you believe it? A paper straw was #1 trending for 3 days or something.
The environmental impact of plastic straws versus paper straws is entirely unclear. This has cost both the government and private industry an absolute ton of money and left consumers all over the country wildly dissatisfied with their straws. So we're asking aspects of the federal government, federal departments and agencies to look at their existing procurement processes, and we're asking your Domestic Policy Council to look holistically at this issue to address it, and it really is something that affects ordinary Americans in their everyday lives.
So going back to plastic straws, these things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay. And I don't think that plastic's going to affect a shark very much as they're munching their way through the ocean.
Globally, he's brokering peace. Ukraine and Russia talks are buzzing, and hostages are coming home.
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position.
You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was
have
in
the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
But right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
what you're
You're
speaking
gambling
about?
with
What are you
World
speaking
War
about?
III. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
He's pulled out of UN deals, putting America first, and even launched a meme coin, $Trump, days before inauguration. Love it or hate it, it's bold.
We're almost halfway through the first 100 days. He doesn't have a single legislative accomplishment.
It was at this moment that he knew. He up.
That's all, folks.